Well, greetings, Sigma race fans. We come at you live here tonight from Texas for the USA Trucks West Division. And it's been a season dominated so far by Matthew Fastnaught. And you see him on the outside line there as Trevor Vaden third in line. Trevor Walker with their pole, though. 21 of Trevor Walker gets the pole bonus. Matthew Fastnaught qualifies second. Trevor Vaden third. Those are your three of your top contenders in the series here. Then you've got Tasha Wright, who's also a stout contender in fourth. Luis Rodriguez, Guido Piano, Santi Messi, Zach Magoon, and hometown native, the 85 of Brian DeBlanc, alongside the number 2 there of Billy Lovejoy. Willow Blake and Bailey Parker, Kyler Sestre and Taylor Cording, Paul Ladino and Spinham Walker, Chris Harvey and Noah Hobson, Adam Starr and Jason So, Krista Cower and Kat Durham, Violet Void and Rich Roy, Jonah Burridge and Chasey Plays, Casey Nonico and Lucas Holmes, Roach and Matthew Hubert, Jack Davis and Jamie McMurphy, Monty Shangle, Jamison Thole, Jacob Shangle, Ray Marcus, and at the very back of the field you got Daniel Paulus and the 65 of Asiel Escobar. Current points leader is none other than the 09 of Matthew Fastnaught, who has won 4 of the first 6 races in this USA Trucks Western Division. Trevor Vaden not too far behind him in the points. Only 8 points separate the top 2. Trevor Vaden is winless so far this season, but has been able to use bonus points from pole position and led most laps to really close that gap on Matthew Fastnaught, even with his 4 wins. And so rolling out for the start here today, you got the Trevor Vaden duo on the inside, you got Matthew Fastnaught and Tasha Wright on the outside. Pace truck pulls off, and we're green for the Boilermaker 151 here at Texas. Trevor Walker gets the early lead here. Matthew slots into second. Trevor Vaden thinking about it. He might try to make a move here for the lead. Matthew mirror driving as much as he can to try and follow the line of the 21 in front of him. They juked. Fortunately, the 09 not able to make the move for the lead quite yet, as the 20 of Vaden makes the move for second place. Matthew Fastnaught in defense mode right now, having to hold off the 20. Looks like he's going to defend and hold serve here in second. As Trevor Walker starting to leg it out a little bit here. Trevor Vaden peeking on the inside again. These two are going to be duking it out all night here around Texas. Fastest lap in the race so far belongs to hometown driver, the 21 of Trevor Walker, Texas native. Having a good run here at the front of the field. Him and the other Texas native both running in the top 5 as he got Brian DeBlanc in 5th. Matthew and Vaden starting to close the gap up a little bit here. Fastest lap has switched hands yet again. Now it's the 5 of Santi Messi who's running in 4th right there. Nope, and now it was Trevor Vaden who is on the attack to take over second place. What's impressive with Fastnaught and Vaden is the fact that Matthew Fastnaught has won 4 races and doesn't have a bigger lead over the 20 of Trevor Vaden. Vaden is playing the bonus points game to perfection so far early in the season. And it's showing because Matthew Fastnaught's playing the winning game. He might not have the best truck. He might not lead the most laps, but he'll still find a way to get the win at the end of the day. So there's obviously a way, there's a strategy to both sides. If you're gonna be hunting for the 1s and 2 points, those start stacking up if you're the only one getting those. Matthew Fastnaught, on the other hand, he could win the race and still lose points to Trevor Vaden if he ended up leading most laps and had pole position in the race. So it goes to show you the balance between bonus points and winning the race sometimes outweigh each other. Usually in the favor of led most laps and pole positions. Matthew trying to take second place back here, as you've now got the 85 also cracking up into the top 5. Well, Vaden gets shuffled backwards here. Now Matthew Fastnaught up to second, hunting down the leader here. Your top 5 looking pretty stout with big names. Fastnaught trying to take the lead away from Trevor Walker here. Trevor Vaden as well making a move on for third against the 85 of Brian DeBlanc. 2 by 2 they roll. Matthew Fastnaught the advantage for the lead. Trevor Vaden the advantage for third. And here comes Guido Piano. Still fastest lap though belongs to Trevor Vaden so far. Didn't have the lead to show for it, but he's on the move trying to get back up to the front here. And so now this points battle between these two is going to continue to go on week to week. We're about halfway now through the regular season in the USA Trucks West Division. This is race 7 of 15. And obviously the wins are going to help significantly for the playoff seeding on Fastnaught side. There is bonus points for pole positions and any of the driver that led the most laps. So there's bonus points to be had in a few different facets that could really benefit the 20 or the 09 depending on which bonus points and how well they are weighted on those bonuses. Now making a move for the lead, it's Trevor Vaden on Matthew Fastnaught here. Trevor Walker goes high, ditching his teammate actually to give the 09 a bit of a bump draft there. They're still side by side. They're going to drag race down the front stretch here at Texas. Fastnaught leads that lap. And it's going to cut the door, close it on the 20 there of Vaden. We will see at least one pit stop here today, whether that's under green flag conditions or under a caution. Should be a little bit past halfway when we'll actually see those pit stops take place. Matthew continues to hold this lead over Vaden. And we'll do a quick through the field here as we'll check on how everyone else is doing. Trevor Walker in third, Brian DeBlanc in fourth, and Paul Ladino up to fifth. Solid day for Paul Ladino. We've been seeing a lot of these solid runs out of that 94 camp. They're continuing to look stout and strong. Shows that research and development has definitely paid off for this Jesse Saturn Racing entry. You got Guido Piano, Chris Harvey, Santi Messi, Zach Magoon, and Willow Blake rounding out your top 10 at the moment. Tasha Wright, 11th. Billy Lovejoy, 12th. And then you got Bailey Parker, Spinham Walker, and Luis Rodriguez, your top 15. Noah Hobson, Kyler Sestre, Taylor Cording, Kat Durham, and Violet Void rounding out your top 20. Krista Cower, Jonah Burridge, Rich Roy, Jason So, and Roach. Adam Starr, Jack Davis, Jacob Shangle, Jamie McMurphy, and Casey Nanako. Followed by Monty Shangle, Matthew Hubert, Lucas Holmes, Chasey Plays, Ray Marcus, Asiel Escobar, Jameson Thole, and Daniel Paulus Jr. Lead has swapped hands since we did the through the field there. Looks like Vaden had a run here on Matthew Fastnaught. Down the backstretch, he gets a good run, gets on the inside, and then the drag race is on down the front stretch. This time with some help from his team owner, the 21 of Walker gives him a push to the lead, and that knocks Matthew Fastnaught back to third. Now this is where we start to look at if Vaden can get the most laps led bonus here today and hold off the 09 from getting more points than him. Fastnaught could still very well win this race, but if Vaden leads most laps, he won't be able to get the most points. As it sits right now, though, Fastnaught led a good chunk of laps there. He led 9 laps. Vaden so far has only led 3. And his team owner, Trevor Walker, with 12 laps led. So led most laps belong to Trevor Walker at the moment. Matthew Fastnaught not too far behind. And Trevor Vaden seeking to stay up front here and keep the laps in his court. "26 laps in, 75 laps to go. We're 1/4 of the way through the race. This has turned into slightly a three-dog fight at the moment between the two Trevor Ventures entries and the Fastnaught Racing Enterprise 09. All three of which are a Toyota. Toyotas have been the class of the truck series for the last couple of years. It's really just as much as this year, since Fastnaught Racing Enterprises has truly stepped up their game to actually compete against Trevor Ventures. Last year it was the Trevor Venture show where they ended up with majority of the race wins from their camp. More than 15 wins between their 4 drivers went to them in 2024. And this year, not looking as stout. They've had, I think, a couple wins out of Alan Malcolm, but 0 wins from Trevor Walker, 0 wins from Trevor Vaden, and I believe Alex Sanvital is still seeking the first win for Trevor Ventures himself since hopping in to the truck champion number 10. Used to be run by the brother Jordan Walker, who has now made the full move up into Cup, stepping out of trucks after winning that championship last year. The championship in this series is very, very highly coveted. We saw Jordan Walker win the championship last year, and it was a tough one to secure. He had to beat the likes of Tim Cording, Chaz Chadwick, and quite a few of the other drivers that have been going at it for the last several years in the USA Trucks, and it was by no means a gimme. Jordan Walker had to earn it. And why I bring this up is anyone fighting for the championship this year, it is going to be a full venture to get that championship title. It's no walk in the park. You're going to have to hit a grand slam to make it work sometimes. And that's kind of what we're seeing out of Matthew Fastnaught here, is I feel like he ain't letting his foot up off the throttle. He wants to keep winning, get those bonus points secured, so that when the East and the West combine for the playoffs later in the season, USA Trucks W Chase, you will have the big boost of the points because of those wins, and that's really where you want to be. Have a good cushion in the chase. That way you don't have to worry about something going wrong. Walker taking the lead here from his teammate Vaden, as Brian DeBlanc also in the mix here. Matthew Fastnaught giving the 21 a bit of a push. Laps led look even across the board. 12 to Vaden, 13 to Walker, and 9 to Fastnaught. So good parity at the front of the field as we keep seeing the lead swap hands here briefly for each of our top 3 leaders. Walker getting to tamp his lead again, gaining a couple more lead laps here. Stretch his lead most bonus. Matthew Fastnaught would very much like to take that lead back and start getting those points back in his favor. Kind of neat when you see the hometown phenoms running strong at the track that they were brought up on. You know very well they've got family in the crowd here watching the race. Trevor Walker and Brian DeBlanc both looking stout. Matthew Fastnaught on the move here. Fastnaught really does seem to have these 1.5-mile tracks figured out. This would have been last year the Trevor and Trevor show. Well, this year it's still the Trevor and Trevor show, but it's Trevor and Trevor plus Matthew. Crazy how we've actually got a third factor in the mix now. Makes the racing that much more exciting, having 3 drivers all capable of getting the win week in and week out. Fastnaught leading some laps here. He's going to get back in the favor of led most laps. It's almost going to be a 3-way tie for laps led in the distance they've led here today. Lap 40, and they're starting to catch lap traffic already. So that's going to put an extra added wrinkle in the mix here. We'll see how well they can maneuver through traffic. Hopefully they don't get held up too significantly here and lose time to each other. Wow, Matthew stuck behind the 88 truck there. Something fierce. Vaden's going to get stuck behind the 88 as well, as that's going to open the door for Brian DeBlanc to make a move. Crazy how significant it is when you get into the lap traffic like that. What a big difference it makes getting held up there. Well, just like that, Fastnaught at 12 laps led, Vaden at 12 laps led, and Brian DeBlanc at 0. Trevor Walker at 16. I read down the line a little too far there and misannounced it, but Brian DeBlanc could lead a lap here. Just as it might come here this lap. He's on the outside as the 09's on the inside. To no avail, the 85 is going to get stuck up high and fall backwards. Wow, the 85 catches a good wind on the outside, and he's got the lead now. So kind of a reverse commentary jinx. I was making a comment about him not leading a lap. And there he goes, leading his first lap of the race here today, getting around the lap traffic quicker and easier than his competitors. Matthew's going to have to give up on that inside line if he wants to get around some of these lap trucks. Found an opening here, and he's going to get blocked again. We aren't even at halfway yet, and these drivers are stuck in a hornet's nest of lap trucks. What this is going to do is going to allow the rest of the field to get caught right back up to the lead, which could make for a very interesting second half of this race here. Wow, Matthew still held up by the 36. They might need to use the chrome horn to get him out of the way. Wow, now he gets around on the outside and he's checking out. But now it's your Texas natives running 1-2 as Brian DeBlanc leads the way over Trevor Walker. Matthew's got a little bit of work to do as he got by the lap truck that was holding him up dearly there. Willow Blake up to 8th. And it looks like DeBlanc might be able to make it through all the lap traffic here and have a little bit of clear track in front of him. And there you have it. Gets around the last lap truck that was in his way there for a while. Going to be able to set sail with some clean track and start putting together some good lap times. Matthew getting alongside the 21 there for second place. He's going to use that 76 truck as a pick. Trevor Vaden follows suit, and it's going to be him up to third. Matthew Fastnaught in second. Well, things are clipping by pretty quickly now as they've blown through a good portion of the lap traffic here. That would put us with 28 trucks left on the lead lap. DeBlanc with the lead, but how long is he going to be able to hold it as the rest of the trucks have made their way through lap traffic? Wow. Fastnaught really closed that gap rapidly, as you can see him catching up to the 85. A little bit of a sit and duck now as the 09 comes charging right here at halfway. Ooh, Vaden and Walker making a move on the 09 there. Fastest lap does belong to Trevor Vaden in the number 20 truck. Now, here we go. Matthew Fastnaught to the point. You do have a new 5th place driver in Chris Harvey now. Trevor Walker on the attack again. He's been a tough one to keep held back, fighting for the win here at his home track. It's going to be hard to keep him in second place. Making the move here to try and take the lead back from Matthew Fastnaught. Laps led. It's 16 Matthew Fastnaught, 16 Trevor Walker, and 12 Trevor Vaden, with an even, pretty tight 10 from Brian DeBlanc. So Matthew could very well find himself in a situation of trying to get max points here today. Lead most laps, get the win. The only thing he didn't get was pole position. That belongs to the 21 of Trevor Walker. Now he's shuffled back a little bit and going to have to recoup, recalculate. Wow, Willow Blake, a solid top 10 run for her so far. See her in the distance, not too far out of the picture, up to about 7th. Now up to 6th. Don't count out Willow Blake. I know that she's hoping to get another win to her name here soon. It's been a while since she's been to victory lane. Wow, Vaden going for the lead here now. As long as we keep getting side by side, that's only going to allow the rest of the field to keep closing it up and getting tighter and tighter. We could see about an 8-truck fight for the win before this is all said and done. Vaden's going to take over the lead. Brian DeBlanc with a hard charge on the inside here gets sole possession of 2nd. Matthew Fastnaught up to 3rd. And so now the windows are starting to open up for the drivers that want to make that pit stop. You know for a fact the undercut's going to be key to getting in and getting out as soon as possible. Once you get back out on track with fresh tires, you'll be able to make some time up. If you're able to do the undercut, usually that's the strategy that could win the race. But some folks will wait and wait and wait and wait until it's later in the race. They can come down and do a quicker gas and go. If they're not afraid of their tire degradation, they can come back out with old tires and try to hold on for dear life. That's why it's key to get that undercut, be the first one to go down pit road. And that's always why you see more drivers follow suit, because they know the advantage is going to go to that driver that just pitted. So you don't want to be the second one that pits. You want to be the first one that pits and lead by example. DeBlanc losing some ground here as Trevor Vaden still out there leading. Led most laps. It is 16 Trevor Vaden, 17 Matthew Fastnaught, 19th Trevor Walker. So that led most laps point battle is tight here today. Someone's going to get the bonus, and it's only going to be one driver unless we somehow manage to have a 3-way tie. Then it would go to the driver that finishes the highest. Which I don't think I've ever had to deal with a 3-way tie for led most laps. That just doesn't happen. It's not a common trend that you see this many different leaders at the front of the field. This has been some exciting racing, some great parity, and easily 4 drivers that could get the win here today. It's going to come down to where you're at in the final stint of the race to truly get the job done. Trevor Venture's teammates are nose to tail right now, drag racing down the front stretch. This here is their advantage, working together, drafting together. That way they can get even further away from the rest of the field. 35 laps remain. And it's 19 and 19, so Vaden, with one more lap led, will take over sole possession of led most laps here today. But it doesn't look like he's going to be able to hold off his team owner for long. Trevor Walker wants to get back to the front and lead again. Lap traffic in the mix. This is going to slow things up a little bit. I'm still kind of surprised we haven't seen any takers down pit road yet. You know very well that this would be about the time where we'll see someone open the pit stops sequence here. Well, I'll be damned. Willow Blake looking to try and get it into the top 5 here. She's looking stout. Could have Willow Blake in the mix before the end of this as well, making it more than 4 trucks with a shot at the win here today. Yeah, Willow's going to take the undercut. Smart move on her part. Get down pit road first. Get out of this lap traffic. The longer they're stuck behind the lap traffic, the slower they're going to go. Willow Blake found the escape route and took it right at the perfect timing there. As you can see, the Walker-Vaden duo, they're about 2 seconds off their best lap. So it's far from their fast times. And Willow Blake's going to have the advantage after she pits, that she's going to come out to a clean track, I imagine. And if that's the case, she's going to be able to run some clean laps and close the gap on the leaders that she was fighting with. Now with 31 laps to go. Looked like pretty much everyone made their pit stop the next lap, the very next lap after Willow Blake did. So Willow was the catalyst to start it all off, and I think she's going to gain some ground based on the timing of that pit stop. Yeah, just like that, they're exiting pit road. She's going to get past DeBlanc, Fastnaught, Walker. What about Vaden? Where is Vaden? There's Vaden. So she jumps from about 5th up to 2nd here, and she's on a quick lap while the others are on their warm-up lap with cold tires. So Willow's going to have the speed right here and might even get the lead from Trevor Vaden before he gets his tires warmed up. She's on the move. Here she goes with the fresh tires up to temperature. Side by side for the lead on Trevor Vaden. She's going to lead here on lap 72. Wow, what a turnaround for the 01 team. And I called the shot as I was giving it play by play. The undercut gets her to the front as the other drivers are out there on a warm-up lap with their cold tires. Now, the only thing is, she's going to have 1 lap older tires than the rest of the field, which really is no big deal. You're not going to see that degradation factor in unless it's another 50-lap run. But all she's got to deal with is a 28-lap run here at the end. And I think the advantage is going to be very minuscule to what the 20 might have fresher tires on Willow Blake. So she simply just have to hold on to the lead here and hope that she doesn't get passed back by the faster trucks behind her. That ain't ideal, getting passed by a lap truck here. When she's got the lead, she's going to lose the lead back to Trevor Vaden, it looks like. But she's going to give it all she's got. She's drag racing around the outside. The 20 stuck behind the 17 at the moment. Willow Blake leads that lap. 27 laps to go. Oh, and that's... Yeah, this is going to be a good race to the finish here, as it's still very much anyone's game at this moment. Matthew and Walker, they're going to have to really catch up and close the gap back to the leader here, as their pit stops kind of shuffled them out of the mix. Willow Blake's lead lasted briefly there. Was a good lead while it lasted. We're starting to see just slightly the advantage on the tires here lean in the favor of Trevor Vaden. But with lap traffic, Trevor Vaden could still lose this lead back to Willow Blake. Oofty. Now Willow's stuck behind the 17, and that's holding her pace up a little bit. Of course, there is going to be more lap traffic later on down the line, so Willow might just as well hang in, hold on to where she's running, and wait for more lap traffic to give her a shot. "24 laps remain. Trevor Vaden with the lead. He has the fastest lap in the race, and he's led the most laps so far. 26 laps. Matthew Fastnaught with 17 laps led. Willow Blake led 4 laps there since the green flag pit stops, and she's got a solid shot at getting the win here still. Looks like Matthew Fastnaught starting to close the gap up a little bit. He was 3.5 seconds. Now he's only 1.5 seconds back. Willow Blake catching the draft of the 20 here. She's closing back in on the lead. Eventually, all lines are going to intersect back at the front of the field, and I think Matthew Fastnaught, with the speed he's got, should still be in the mix for the win here, even though there's only 22 laps to go. Lap traffic is ahead of these drivers. Only about half a straightaway separates them. It's been a decent April month for Willow Racing so far, as they already had a win in ARCA with Chase Kovacic. It was actually a 1-2 finish with Kovacic and Void finishing in second. Willow Blake has lamented the fact that she hasn't been able to get to victory lane since her first season in ARCA last year. And that was early in the year, so it's been more than a year since she's tasted victory. And she's been keeping it rolling, desperately seeking that next win. She's got a good run here on the back bumper of the 20 of Vaden. She's going to make a move for the lead here with authority. The 01 of Blake gets side by side with Vaden. Now with 18 laps remaining. Vaden leads the lap that time, but Willow Blake's got the advantage on the inside. They drag race down the backstretch. As you can see now, Matthew Fastnaught starting to close the gap back up. It's going to be a 3-dog fight here soon. Vaden legs it out on the outside. Willow Blake has to settle back into second. That side-by-side racing has given Matthew Fastnaught a new breath of fresh air, as he's now looking on the inside of maybe taking second from Willow Blake here. He thought better of it that time around. He's going to hold suit behind the 01. Don't have to look too much further ahead for that lap traffic to start factoring in again. Willow Blake keeping the 09 behind her. But now Trevor Vaden's going to be tasked with figuring out the right line to run here to get around the lap truck. He's going to get held up here briefly. That's going to close the gap for everyone else behind him. Ooh, and that's going to give Fastnaught a run on the inside. Willow Blake gets stuck up high here. Vaden goes low on the 26 of Holmes, but he's not out of the woods, as there are going to be a bunch of lap trucks in the mix here. No, Willow Blake's going to get snookered here. She's stuck up on the outside in the wrong place at the wrong time. That's going to drop her way back to about 7th. She might be down, but she ain't out. As you can see, lap traffic is going to be a problem for everyone in these final 15 laps. Matthews right there on the back bumper of Vaden. Vaden tries to cut low, but the 55 blocks his advance. The 09 gets below the 20, and now they're side by side for the lead with lap trucks holding them up on both lanes of action. Vaden, unfortunately, in the worst place at the worst time, gets dropped even further back with the lap traffic. Trying to find an opening there in front of his boss man. Kind of gets in there alongside the 21, but the damage has already been done. Willow Blake getting another glimpse here at the front half of the field. She's going to have to find her way around the 6 truck ASAP if she wants a shot to try and get the win here. 6 goes way high. That was unexpected. And now cuts way low. Lap traffic unpredictable as all hell here, as they are slow, 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 and unpredictable. A terrible combo. So Matthew with the lead now with 11 laps to go. Brian DeBlanc up to 2nd here. Now Matthew on the verge. Actually, I take that back. Vaden has led most laps locked down at 37. The best that Matthew Fastnaught could do would be 29 or 30, depending. Ouch. Willow gets dropped even further back out to 8th now, as she wasn't able to get around the lap traffic very keenly there. Oh, Walker gives the 85 a bit of a nudge there to get him out of line. The Texas natives side by side for 2nd place here. And they're still not out of the woods, as there's going to be some more lap traffic before the end of this one. Matthew simply hoping that he can just keep coasting at the front here and avoid getting stuck behind too much more traffic. Brian DeBlanc on a charge here. He might look for the lead with 6 laps to go. Side by side now through turn 1. DeBlanc looking there. Is Matthew going to be able to hold him off? Now they're going to be drag racing down the backstretch, as you've got the TV teammates side by side for 3rd. Brian DeBlanc's going to have a nose on the 09 here. They're going to drag race down the front stretch. Fastnaught leads that lap. DeBlanc's got the advantage, though. Matthew cannot afford to give up too many spots here to the 20, as he's got led most laps here locked up today. That would be hard in the point standings for Matthew Fastnaught. It could very well give Trevor Vaden the points lead. Five laps remain. Here we've got a lap truck holding up the action again. 36 of Lucas Holmes Brian DeBlanc cuts low on him. Trevor Walker as well. That's going to leave Trevor Vaden up high to dry. And we're not done with lap traffic either. Starting to catch back up to the leaders. It is the 94 of Paul Adino and the 01 of Willow Blake. But it might be too short, too late at the end here. 20. Wow, the 20 got dropped by lap traffic. Vaden is now outside of the top 5. Man, Willow Blake's unfortunately in the mix of it again. All the lap trucks are a nightmare here at Texas. Added green-white checkers just in case we need it. Hopefully we do not. But Brian DeBlanc starting to cruise away with this one as lap traffic has actually helped him significantly drive away with it here. Trevor Walker in second, so it's going to be a Texas 1-2 if they hold on to where they're running. Matthew Fastnaught, your points leader, looking to solidify a third place finish. Guido Piano with a fourth or fifth. Wow, Trevor Vaden drops all the way back to 8th. White flag waves for Brian DeBlanc as he's leading the field here with just one lap to go. But the lap traffic is now his enemy as the 21 is caught up to his back bumper. We're going to be looking at a race to the finish line here for most cases. 21 on the outside. Is it going to be Brian DeBlanc or is it going to be Trevor Walker? What about Matthew Fastnaught on the inside? Lap traffic's going to hold him up, and it's Brian DeBlanc with the win here. Trevor Walker tried to do the outside line there, but unfortunately did not get it. 0.033. 3/1000ths of a second. And that's what it looks like right there. That's quite the photo finish of the top 3, as you can see. Solid day there for the 85. DeBlanc steals the show here from Texas. Gets the win at his home track. Most laps led today by Trevor Vaden. He comes home in 8th. Trevor Walker from pole position keeps it in his 2nd. And Matthew Fastnaught brings it home 3rd. So often snake bitten and has trouble getting these races finished. Brian DeBlanc gets the win here in 2025. And ultimately, thanks to all of you for tuning into the truck race here. We were treated to a delightful race here from Texas, the Boilermaker 151 race winner. Home track driver of Brian DeBlanc. 1-2 finish for Texas natives as Trevor Walker brings it home in 2nd. Rest of your field as it looks: Matthew Fastnaught, Guido Piano, Paul Ladino, Bailey Parker, Willow Blake, Trevor Vaden, Chris Harvey, and Zach Magoon. And that is a wrap, folks, as we look towards the Bridge to Cup race later this evening. Live stream here on the channel. And points will be tallied eventually throughout the week. Don't expect them to be right away. But yeah, congratulations, Brian DeBlank getting the win here today. And Matthew Fastnaught on continuing to hold what should be a points lead here. So, well, and hopefully y'all can tune in for the Bridge to Cup race later today. If not, have a great week, folks, and we'll see you on the next stream. This is Jakester signing out.